just in case y'all don't know, according to the scriptures, America, biblical name is Mystery Babylon, the Great, the whore that the Bible speaks of, that the book of Revelation speaks of.
The whole earth is not going to be destroyed. The whole America is going to be destroyed. That's right. This is Babylon the Great. When you read Revelation, the 18th chapter, this is Great Babylon, that who ought to be destroyed.
We received a lot of responses based on our teachings that, according to the Bible, what we've been bringing out of the scriptures, the Lord wants his people to leave America, which is Babylon, before the war is hit. Before first of all, before the government itself starts rounding up its own.
Alright, so dealing with the fall of Babylon, which is America, right? We know America is Babylon from Revelation chapter 17. So we're going to deal with the fall of America, which is Babylon.
Great Babylon, Mystery Babylon, that's America in the Bible. When you read about in Revelations how the Lord destroyed it, he's talking about America.
Basically, you can have any religion you want in this place. You can worship Satan in America if you want to. That's why America is Babylon and it's going to be destroyed.
Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Help her, take balm for the pain. If so be she may be healed. We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her, and let us go everyone into his own country. For her judgment reacheth unto heaven, and is lifted even up to the skies. So that's solely just dealing with America. See? So America's the whore that sat on the beast. Jeremiah 50 and 29. Call together the archers against Babylon. Alright, I'm going to replace Babylon with America. Call together the archers against America. Alright? This is it right here.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another edition of The Absolute Truth. This is the Bible show that focuses on the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth concerning the Word of God, while leaving out all personal opinions, speculations, and beliefs. I'm Brother Joshua, and today reading for me as usual, Brother Big Baby. And the title of today's class is America is Not Babylon. Again, today's title is America is Not Babylon. And I already know that the very title of this class probably offends a lot of black Hebrews all around the country. But I decided to do this because every time I turn on YouTube, or every time what I like to call a radical black Hebrew comes into this room, the first thing they want to tell us is that America is Babylon. And what I mean by that is they'll go to Revelation and they'll go to other books in the Bible like Isaiah and Jeremiah where it speaks of Babylon, and they'll say, see, this is talking about America. Well, I'm here to show you today, sisters and brothers, that is a complete lie. It is total falsehood. I'm going to show you in today's class who Babylon is, according to the scriptures. I'm also going to show you how they are ripping all kinds of scriptures completely out of context and are therefore deceiving you when they tell you this is talking about America. I'm going to also identify from the scriptures, and we're going to even just look up a few words and show you who the Babylon in Revelation is referring to, because it is referring to somebody, but it is not America. But most importantly, I want to prove to you that the scriptures that they go to, that they refer you to, when you see them standing out on the street corners in their major cities. Or when you turn on YouTube and you see them holding up the signs that display Photoshop pictures of a destroyed America or a nuclear war zone. That is not accurate. It is not talking about America. I want you guys to see, when you get out of here today, that is a lie. And you're going to see, just from the context of the scriptures that we are reading, this is not really, despite what you may be thinking, a deep topic. It's not really deep at all. All you have to do to understand this class is simply know how to read. That's the only requirement. You don't got to really know any Hebrew words. You don't got to really understand any prophecy. All you got to do is know how to read. And that's a shame, because for such a controversial topic, the only thing you need to do to understand it is to know how to read. You would think, man, he got to do this, he got to do that, he got to go here, and he got to take care of that. No, it's not even that hard, people. And you're going to see that. I'm going to show you that when they go to these scriptures and try to tell you this is talking about America, it's only talking about ancient Babylon. Because what these black Hebrews seem to forget is that Israel actually did go into a literal captivity to a literal ancient Babylon. But for some reason, they pretend like that Babylon never existed. And when they go in the scriptures and read about that Babylon, they want to make it be today or 400 years ago when black people first came over into slavery in America. Like, see, this is talking about America. So without further ado, we're going to go in the scriptures and you're going to see for yourself, you just know how to read, that it's talking about ancient Babylon. They are twisting scripture to deceive you, to scare you, because people are twisting these scriptures. You got people who don't ran up out of America. They have literally packed up and left because the scriptures say, flee Babylon. And they think that's talking about America. You've been tricked, sisters and brothers, and I'm going to show you that time and time again in this class. So now, let's go to Jeremiah chapter 25. And the book of Jeremiah plays a pivotal role in this class because he was one of the main prophets that God chose to tell you what's going to happen to Babylon. And y'all going to see it. The only people who are not going to be able to receive this lesson today is people who are just hell-bent on sticking with a doctrine. They don't want to see the truth. They just want to go on believing what they want to believe. But those of you who are really seeking truth, who are really being honest and open to what the scriptures are really saying, you're going to see it. Hands down. No contest. No controversy. You're like, hey, that's what he's talking about. I know how to read. I comprehend what I read. It's simple. Right? But I'm trying to make it as simple as possible because y'all already know I dummy-proof all of my classes. There's no way you can walk up from an ABT class or video and be like, well, I ain't understand what he was saying. That's impossible. Jeremiah 25. Pick it up at verse 1. And we're going to read talking about Israel. Because it's all about Israel. Go ahead and read.
The word that came to Jeremiah concerning all the people of Judah in the 4th year of Jehoiakim, the son of Josiah, king of Judah, that was the 1st year of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon.
Right, Nebuchadnezzar, same thing. It's talking about Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon. But when did this come? He said the word that came to Jeremiah concerning all the people of Judah. Look what he said, all the people of Judah. Who we talking about, right? In the 4th year of Jehoiakim, the son of Josiah, king of Judah, so we talking about King Jehoiakim, that was the 1st year of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon. Why am I breaking this down? Because I want you to know what historical context this is in. Jehoiakim was an ancient king of Judah who lived thousands of years ago, and Nebuchadnezzar lived during that same time period. Nothing debatable about that, right? Keep reading.
Which Jeremiah the prophet spake unto all the people of Judah and unto all the inhabitants of Jerusalem, saying, from the 13th year of Josiah the son of Ammon, king of Judah, even unto this day, this is the 23rd year. The word of the Lord hath come unto me, and I have spoken unto you, rising early and speaking, but ye have not hearkened.
So Jeremiah said, I've been telling the inhabitants of Judah, thus saith the Lord, but you're not listening, right? Rising up early, telling you. Go ahead and read.
And the Lord hath sent unto you all his servants, the prophets, rising early and sending them, but ye have not hearkened, nor inclined your ear to hear.
Mm-hmm.
Then they said, turn ye again now, everyone from his evil way.
This is what the prophet was telling them. Telling the inhabitants of Judah. Turn from your evil way. We know this is in the past. We know that. No problem, right? Go ahead and read.
And from the evil of your doings, and dwell in the land that the Lord hath given unto you and to your fathers forever and ever. And go not after other gods to serve them and to worship them, and to provoke me to anger with the works of your hands, and I will do you no hurt. Yet ye have not hearkened unto me, saith the Lord.
Now he's telling the kingdom of Judah, you have not listened to me. I sent my prophets telling you to turn from your evil ways, but you have not listened. Right? This took place thousands of years ago. We know that. Go ahead and read.
That ye might provoke me to anger with the works of your hands to your own hurt. Therefore, thus saith the Lord of hosts, because you have not heard my word.
Now listen to this. Here comes the punishment. Because you have not heard my words, what's going to happen? Go ahead and read.
Behold, I will send and take all the families of the north, saith the Lord, and Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, my servant, and will bring them against this land, and against the inhabitants thereof, and against all these nations round about.
Now look what God said. Because Israel did not listen to his prophet, the kingdom of Judah in particular, he's going to send Nebuchadnezzar and all the families of the north against Israel. Right? And it said Nebuchadnezzar, and he will bring them against this land and against the inhabitants thereof, and against these nations round about. Babylon didn't just destroy Israel. Babylon also destroyed, if you go over and read verse 19 through 25, it names all the other nations that Babylon conquered. But we're focusing on Israel here, right? He said, if you don't listen, because you didn't listen, I'm going to bring Nebuchadnezzar, and what is he going to do? Keep reading.
And will utterly destroy them, and make them in astonishment, and in hissing, and a perpetual desolation.
Go ahead.
Moreover, I will take from them the voice of mirth, and the voice of gladness, the voice of the bridegroom, and the voice of the bride, the sound of the millstone, and the light of the candle.
So that what Nebuchadnezzar going to do to all the nations. But what is he going to do to Israel, the kingdom of Judah, right? Who was under Jehoiakim. We just read that, right? What's he going to do to them? Go ahead and read.
And this whole land shall be a desolation and astonishment, and these nations shall serve the king of Babylon 70 years.
He said, and this whole land, what land? Jerusalem. Because Jehoiakim was the king of Jerusalem, right? He said, this whole land shall be an astonishment and a desolation, and these nations shall serve the king of Babylon 70 years. So we see that God told Jeremiah to tell the kingdom of Judah that I'm going to send Nebuchadnezzar to destroy this land. Because y'all not listening to me, right? But watch what else God says he's going to do to Nebuchadnezzar after he does all these things. Go ahead and read.
And it shall come to pass, when 70 years are accomplished, that I will punish the king of Babylon and that nation.
Hold up, stop. This is what the black Hebrews don't want to focus on. God said when the 70 years are up, he's going to punish Babylon and that nation. What else? Keep reading.
Saith the Lord, for their iniquity and the land of the Chaldeans, and will make it perpetual desolation.
He said, and will make it perpetual desolation. Now, anybody who's reading this can see that the Babylonian kingdom that it's talking about that's going to be destroyed has to be ancient Babylon. Because he said he was going to do this 70 years after they conquered the world. Because they destroyed all these nations, including Israel, and he said these nations are going to serve him for 70 years, and then afterwards, he's going to destroy Babylon. Right. This was thousands of years ago. Right? So that means when we go into the prophecy and we read about Babylon going to be destroyed, wouldn't it make sense that it would be talking about this right here?
Right.
Why would we jump thousands of years into the future and try to make it be America? Why would we do that? And we're going to read and we're going to show you the context of what you're reading, and you're going to see this is talking about ancient Babylon. And I'm going to show you the very scriptures that they try to take you to try to say it's talking about America, it's talking about ancient Babylon. In other words, sisters and brothers, they are taking you to scripture that has already been fulfilled and lying to you and telling you it's the future. That's what they're doing. That's why I'm taking taking you here to show you that God declared that he's going to destroy ancient Babylon. And he's telling you this by Jeremiah the prophet. Keep all of this in mind. This is ancient history here, what you're reading. But let me show you something else to show you the fulfillment of what happened to Israel. Let's go to 2 Chronicles chapter 36. Like I said, Jeremiah was the main prophet that God used to talk against Babylon. Not the only prophet, but the main one. Now we're going to 2 Chronicles 36. God told them he was going to send Nebuchadnezzar upon their land, which was Jerusalem. And he was going to destroy it. And then after Nebuchadnezzar did that, he was going to be destroyed. His kingdom was going to be destroyed 70 years later. Babylon. And God's going to tell you how he did that. And when you read the scriptures, you're going to see what Babylon this is talking about. You're not going to have to ask me, is this talking about the future, Josh, or this talking about ancient? You're going to be able to know. It's really simple. It's not hard at all. But if you're sitting under somebody who don't got any understanding and just trying to teach you out of ghetto scholarship and not real understanding, then you'll fall for this stuff. But if you just sit down and read it for yourself, you can clearly see. Because I'm going to show you, they twisted some major scripture here, and the only thing you have to do is stay exactly where they take you and keep reading. You ain't even got to jump around. Just stay exactly where they take you and say, keep reading. And you'll see it. But let me show you this, 2 Chronicles 36. And we're going to identify who that Babylon in Revelation is, and it ain't even that hard to do. That ain't hard to do either. They overcomplicate simple matters of the scriptures. That's what they do. 2 Chronicles 36 and 11. Go ahead and read, please.
Zedekiah was 1 and 20 years old when he began to reign. And he reigned 11 years in Jerusalem.
Now this is the last king of Judah before the Babylonian captivity. This is the last one, right? Go ahead and read.
He did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord his God, and humbled not himself before Jeremiah the prophet, speaking from the mouth of the Lord.
It said he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord, and he humbled not himself before Jeremiah the prophet. Remember, I said Jeremiah is a key prophet in this lesson, right? That's why I keep showing y'all Jeremiah, right? We're going to go to other places, but I'm showing y'all Jeremiah, right? Go ahead and read.
And he also rebelled against King Nebuchadnezzar, who had made him swear by God.
It said he also rebelled against King Nebuchadnezzar, or Nebuchadnezzar, however you want to pronounce it. It said he also rebelled against him. So he's rebelling against the king of Babylon, right? Go ahead and read.
But he stiffed his neck and hardened his heart from turning to the Lord God of Israel.
That's what Zedekiah did, right? But now, skip down to verse 17. Let's see what's going to happen. Go ahead.
Therefore he brought upon them the king of the Chaldees.
And Chaldees is just another name for Babylon. Ur of the Chaldees is one of the countries that was in Babylon. One of the cities that was in Babylon. It's Ur of the Chaldees. When they talk about the Chaldees, they're still talking about Babylon, sisters and brothers. It said, therefore he brought upon them the king of the Chaldees. Still talking about Nebuchadnezzar. Go ahead and read.
Who slew their young men with the sword in the house of their sanctuary, and had no compassion upon young man or maiden, old man, or him that stooped for age. He gave them all into his hand.
He said he gave them all into his hand. This is what Nebuchadnezzar is doing to Israel. He destroyed Israel in like 580 something BCE. That's what he did, right? He destroyed ancient Israel, Jerusalem particularly. Right? Because this is the kingdom of Judah we're reading about. Go ahead and read.
And all the vessels of the house of God, great and small, and the treasures of the house of the Lord, and the treasures of the king and of his princes, all these he brought to Babylon. Mm-hmm. And they burnt the house of God.
So what's the house of God? The temple. Mm-hmm. They burnt the temple, right? God said that this was going to happen. We just read that in Jeremiah 25. He said that was going to happen, right? Go ahead.
And break down the wall of Jerusalem, and burnt all the palaces thereof with fire, and destroyed all the goodly vessels thereof. Mm-hmm. And them that had escaped from the sword carried he away to Babylon.
So the ones that weren't killed in this war, he carried away to Babylon. Go ahead and read.
Well, they were servants to him and his sons until the reign of the kingdom of Persia.
Now it said they were servants to him and his sons until the reign of the kingdom of Persia. So he's telling you that when Nebuchadnezzar destroyed the temple in Jerusalem, all the Hebrew Israelites that were not killed in the battle was taken into captivity into Babylon until the reign of the kingdom of Persia. That's what this is telling you, right? Go ahead and read.
To fulfill the word of the Lord by the mouth of Jeremiah.
Hold up, to fulfill the word of the Lord by the mouth of who?
Jeremiah.
Jeremiah, right? Jeremiah was one of the main prophets who God used to talk about the destruction of Babylon. We just read that. We read in Jeremiah 25 that after Nebuchadnezzar did this to Israel and the other nations, 70 years later, God would destroy his kingdom. So we already got a Babylon claiming to be destroyed all the way back then. No black Hebrew will argue that ancient Babylon was destroyed. No black Hebrew will argue that because they know that's documented history and that's in the Bible. So my question is, how come we never go to the Bible and read about the ancient destruction of Babylon? How come every time they take you to a scripture talking about the destruction of Babylon, they claim it's America? Because the scripture they take you to where they claim it's America is talking about the ancient destruction of Babylon. And I'm going to show y'all that. And y'all know the scriptures they go to. Some of y'all have even come in here and asked me about. I'm going to take them. I'm going to take y'all to them and we're going to read them out and y'all going to see. It's about ancient Babylon. I can't believe these guys are lying to us like this. Y'all going to see it. And don't let them try to tell you it's a dual prophecy. Because they love trying to holler that when you show that what they're taking you to has already been fulfilled. So they'll say, well, it's a dual prophecy. You can't say something is a dual prophecy if it doesn't say it's a dual prophecy. You cannot say that. This is talking about ancient Babylon, what we're reading here, and we're going to keep on doing that, right? Go ahead and read, finish reading that.
Until the land had enjoyed their Sabbaths. For as long as she lay desolate, she kept Sabbath to fulfill 70 years.
And this is about these yearly Sabbaths. That's what this is talking about, right? Sabbath of years, right? But we see Nebuchadnezzar destroyed Jerusalem, took the Jews into Babylonian captivity. We see that, right? And we already read in Jeremiah 25 that God told Jeremiah that after 70 years, I'm going to destroy Babylon. Right? That's what he said, right? So we know that Babylon was going to be destroyed. Ancient Babylon, right? But now, let's jump right into this. I'm going to take y'all to the scriptures they go to. Let's go to Jeremiah 50. And notice we're going to Jeremiah. He was the chief authority on this. And y'all know I'm not lying. Y'all can go on websites. Y'all can go on YouTube. Y'all can go on Facebook. Y'all can go on MySpace. And y'all know I'm not lying. Y'all know where we're about to go now is where they take people. Y'all know that. But we don't read it in context today. You're going to get some understanding today. You're going to get absolute truth today. Right? Jeremiah 50, pick it up in verse 1.
The word that the Lord spake against Babylon and against the land of the Chaldeans by Jeremiah the prophet.
Now look what it said. Who are we speaking at? Against the Chaldeans, against Babylon, right? They'll take you here and say, see, America is Babylon, so this is talking about America. Don't prove anything to you, just tell you this is talking about America, right? But we already know that God told Jeremiah that you were going to be the one who prophesied the destruction of Babylon after 70 years. He already told Jeremiah that. And it's a long time past 70 years, sisters and brothers, right? But keep reading.
Declare ye among the nations, and publish, and set up a standard. Publish, and conceal not. Say, Babylon is taken, Baal is confounded, Merodach is broken in pieces.
This is talking about these gods that the Babylonians were worshiping, Baal and Merodach. Go ahead.
Her idols are confounded, her images are broken in pieces.
So they'll say, see, America's got all these idols and graven images, which it does. And they'll say, see, this is talking about America. People. Just because something is similar to something does not mean it is something. Y'all understand what I'm saying? We got to keep it in context. We're going to see what this is. It's going to tell you which Babylon this is talking about. I don't even have to break it down to you. You're going to see it. Go ahead and read.
For out of the north there cometh up a nation against her.
He said, out of the north there come up a nation against this Babylon. They'll tell you, see, this is about Russia. And they're going to attack Babylon. They're going to attack America and all this stuff. Because he's also the north. You know what I'm saying? And all this stuff. They'll tell you all this kind of stuff like this, right? It's going to tell you what this is talking about. Go ahead and read.
Which shall make her land desolate, and none shall dwell therein. They shall remove, they shall depart, both man and beast. In those days and in that time, saith the Lord, children of Israel shall come, they and all the children of Judah together, mourning and weeping, and they shall go to seek the Lord their God.
And I come from a congregation where they try to use this and say, see, this is talking about when Jesus comes back, destroys America, and now Israel finna go back to the land. That's not what this is talking about. Wrong. And we don't see it. Keep reading.
They shall ask the way to Zion with their faces thitherward, saying, Come, let us go, let us join ourselves to the Lord in a perpetual covenant that shall not be forgotten.
Now, if you don't have any understanding, and somebody just reads you this and stop, they can fool you into thinking that this is some future event.
Mm-hmm.
This is America. It's going to be destroyed. Or even if you don't believe it's America, this is some future spiritual Babylon that's going to be destroyed. And now Israel going back to the land. Don't that sound so beautiful?
Mm-hmm.
But this is not what this is talking about. I'm sorry. And we're going to see that right now. Skip down to verse 8 and watch what it tells you. Go ahead and read.
Remove out of the midst of Babylon.
See, this is where they take you. Get out of the midst of Babylon. It's America. Y'all better get out of here. It's about to be destroyed. That's what they'll tell you. Keep reading, big baby.
And go forth out of the land of the Chaldeans, and be as the goats before the flocks.
Mm-hmm.
For lo, I will raise and cause to come up against Babylon an assembly of great nations from the north country.
How many times have y'all seen the black Hebrews go here and say, see, America's going to be destroyed by nuclear missiles. These nations from the north country is going to take it out. They'll take you here. But just keep reading. Like I said, I got to do is know how to read, Robert. Go ahead and read, big baby.
And they shall set themselves in array against her. From thence she shall be taken. The arrows shall be as of a mighty expert man. Mm-hmm. None shall return in vain.
Mm-hmm. It said none shall return in vain, right? Let's see who this is talking about. Let's just get to the nitty gritty. Skip down to verse 16 and read. Because we still talking about Babylon here. Go ahead and read.
Cut off the sword from Babylon, and him that handleth the sickle in the time of harvest. For fear of the oppressing sword, they shall turn everyone to his people, and they shall flee everyone to his own land.
Man, my old teacher used to say, see, when this happened, everybody got to go to their own land. So Israel in America got to go back to Israel. This ain't talking about America. This ain't talking about the future. And you're going to see this. Go ahead and read.
Israel is a scattered sheep.
Mm-hmm.
The lions have driven him away.
Now this is about the whole nation of Israel, a combined nation. The original 12 tribes. Go ahead and read what it say.
First the king of Assyria have devoured him.
Hold up. First the king of Assyria have devoured him. That happened in the past. Thousands of years ago. Go ahead and read.
And last, this Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, have broken his bones.
Hold up. This Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, has broken his bones. What Babylon are we talking about then? Ancient Babylon. Just like we talk about ancient Assyria. Remember, when the 12 tribes split, the 3 tribes, Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, became known as the kingdom of Judah. And they were stationed in Jerusalem. The other 9 tribes became known as the kingdom of Israel, and they were stationed in Samaria. First, the 9 tribes, the kingdom of Israel, was taken into captivity by the Assyrians. You can read this in 2 Kings. And then a few hundred years later, the other 3 tribes, the kingdom of Judah, was taken into captivity by Nebuchadnezzar. This is all history. And it's telling you this right here. But yet they take you here and say, see, this is talking about America. How can it be talking about America when it plainly says, this Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, has broken his bones. Broken the kingdom of Judah's bones. See how they twisting stuff? But they'll take you here, and y'all know they take you. This is talking about ancient Babylon. All you got to do is keep reading, and it'll tell you which one it's talking about. And don't try to tell me this is some spiritual Nebuchadnezzar. No. If this is some spiritual Nebuchadnezzar, then who's the king of Assyria then? Who is that? You can't try to put your own little spiritual spin on stuff when you're caught in a lie. This is talking about ancient Babylon, and we're reading this in Jeremiah because God said that he was going to punish the kingdom of Babylon 70 years after Israel went into captivity. He told you that. Particularly the kingdom of Judah. He told you that, right? But keep reading, and watch what else it says.
Therefore, thus saith the Lord God of hosts, the God of Israel, Behold, I will punish the kingdom of Babylon and its land, as I have punished the king of Assyria.
Wait a minute. I'm going to punish the king of Babylon in his land as I punished the king of Assyria. When was the king of Assyria punished? Thousands of years ago. When was Nebuchadnezzar punished? Thousands of years ago. You see how they are in the same time frame? But you know what the black Hebrews do? They take you to Jeremiah 50 and they start reading around like verse 6 or verse 7. They don't read all the way through and they don't let you see that this is talking about ancient Babylon. But they say this is talking about America. How can this be talking about America when it names Nebuchadnezzar by name? Someone punished Nebuchadnezzar. Jeremiah already told you that God was going to punish Babylon after 70 years. He already told you that. But the problem is, you don't want to read. You keep listening to these lying, black, Hebrew, ignorant elders who don't know what they're talking about. Now they got you packing up all your stuff and all your savings and trying to get up out of America because you think this is talking about America. We got to come up out of here, sister, brother. We got to run. Why we got to run? Jeremiah 50. No. It's about ancient Babylon. This has happened thousands of years ago. And I'm going to show you what it means in the future, spiritual Babylon, to come up out of her. It don't mean literally going anywhere. You don't literally get up and go anywhere. You have been lied to. And they're going to keep on lying to you. Now it's getting serious. Because people are actually starting to believe this stuff to the point where it's affecting their livelihood. Where it's having dire consequences if they believe it. It wasn't that bad back then when people did, okay, America, Babylon. But see, now people getting to see to the point where they're actually trying to do stuff now. And they're going to end up getting hurt. You got people fleeing to Egypt. We need to go to Egypt because it reads in the Bible about ancient Israel when they were getting destroyed by Babylon. Some of them ran to Egypt for refuge. So they read that. See, we got to go to Egypt. No, stupid, ignorant, unlearned, don't know how to read. All you got to do is know how to read, right, baby? Is this really complicated? Tell the truth. It ain't. This ain't complicated. But finish reading that. Go ahead.
And I will bring Israel again to his habitation. He shall feed on Carmel and Bashan, and his soul shall be satisfied upon Mount Ephraim, Gilead. And
so that's good. So after 70 years, God let Israel go back to the land under the command of Cyrus. You can read about that in the last few verses of 2 Chronicles 36 and the first few verses of the book of Ezra. They were allowed to go back in the land. I don't know why you black Hebrews feel that every time it talks about the destruction of Babylon, it got to be America. It's never talking about America. Not one time. Not one place. Talking about ancient Babylon. And when you get to the spiritual one in Revelation, that ain't talking about America either. You guys are master deceivers. But let's keep on, because they also go to Jeremiah 51. They go there too. I'm going there too to show y'all Jeremiah 51. And notice that I got y'all starting from verse 1. Notice I always make y'all read from verse 1, right? Jeremiah 51, verse 1. Go ahead and read.
Thus saith the Lord, behold, I will raise up against Babylon and against them that dwell in the midst of them that rise up against me a destroying wind.
So they'll say, see, this is about America. God is going to destroy America, right? But we already know from reading Jeremiah 50 that was about ancient Babylon, and there were no chapter divisions or verses in the ancient Hebrew text. So this is one story. So he's still talking about ancient Babylon, but I'm going to prove it to you by showing you something very important, right? Skip down to verse 6 and continue.
Flee out of the midst of Babylon and deliver every man his soul.
See, they'll take it out again. See, we got to get up out of America. No. He said, flee out of Babylon. And you're going to see for yourself. Keep reading.
Be not cut off in her iniquity. Mm-hmm. This is the time of the Lord's vengeance. He will render unto her recompense.
Remember, Jeremiah already told you that after 70 years he was going to destroy Babylon. God said he was going to destroy Babylon. So how did you skip over 70 years and jump nearly 3,000 plus years into the future? How did you do that? Because you are sitting under a deceiver. You are sitting under a liar. You are sitting under the agents of Satan. The very people who are trying to get you out of Babylon is actually keeping you in Babylon, which just means confusion. They are keeping you confused. But keep reading though.
Babylon have been a golden cup in the Lord's hand, that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine. Therefore, the nations are mad.
And if you go back and read Jeremiah 25, where we started off reading, it'll tell you that God said that about ancient Babylon. Because when you know the black Hebrews, when they see stuff like golden cup and wine and fornication, oh my God, they got to be the future. No. Go back and read all of Jeremiah 25 on your own time, and you'll see that God spoke to Jeremiah about this cup and the wine of the wrath that all the nations was going to drink, including Babylon. Go back and read it. Stop being stupid and listen to everything these elders are telling you because they don't know what they're talking about. They have not been called. They are not learned. They don't know what they're talking about. And I'm showing y'all this. And I don't care who gets mad. But go ahead and read.
Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Howl for her. Take balm for her. If so be she may be healed.
It said Babylon is destroyed. See, this is America, sisters and brothers. This is talking about America. It's talking about ancient Babylon. You're going to see it. Watch when God tells you how this Babylon is going to be destroyed. That's how you're going to know which Babylon he's talking about. Go ahead and read.
We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. She is not healed. Forsake her, and let us go everyone into his own country.
And this is why some black Hebrews try to go to Israel now, because they think this is saying we need to leave America and go back to Israel. Y'all just stuck on stupid. I have never seen such a big group of illiterates before in my life. A big group of illiterates pretending to be educated. Just read. That's all you got to do. Keep reading. It's going to tell you. Go ahead. You're going to see it.
For her judgment reacheth into heaven, and is lifted up even to the skies. Mm-hmm. The Lord hath brought forth our righteousness. Come, and let us declare in Zion the work of the Lord our God. Mm-hmm. Make bright the arrows.
Hold up. Now, you said make bright the arrows. How is God going to destroy this Babylon? Keep reading.
Gather the shields. Mm-hmm. The Lord hath raised up the spirit of the kings of the Medes for his devices against Babylon.
Hold up. God has raised up the spirit of the kings of the who?
Medes.
The Medes. Y'all know who the Medes were? That's the Medo-Persian Empire. They destroyed ancient Babylon. So if God is talking about raising up the Medes against this Babylon, and we know ancient Babylon, this can be proven historically, by the way, easily, was destroyed by the Medes, then what Babylon could this talking about? Gotta be talking about ancient Babylon, sisters and brothers, but they take you there too. And it's plainly telling you that the Babylon that God is going to have destroyed here is going to be destroyed by the Medes. So how in the world can this be talking about America? When we know, just go into any history book, go into any encyclopedia, go on the internet, and it'll plainly tell you that the Medo-Persian Empire, it was called the Medo-Persian Empire because the Persians conquered the Medes, but they still let the Medes live in luxury after they conquered them, and they were considered one empire. Even in the scriptures, it often refers to the kingdom as the Medes and the Persians, as one. So these Medes is who God stirred up against Babylon to destroy it. And we know, you know, that ancient Babylon was destroyed by the Medes. So how in the world is this America? How is this America? Somebody tell me, how is this America? In case y'all can't tell, I'm very upset about this because too many people are being misled by this lie. This is one of the biggest lies that is holding Israel back. Misunderstanding Babylon. But let me show you something else though. We still in Jeremiah 51. He's going to repeat it again. Skip down to verse 24 and read. Go ahead.
And I will render unto Babylon and to all the inhabitants of Chaldea all that evil that they have done in Zion in your sight, saith the Lord.
It said all that evil they have done in Zion. Right? America ain't done no evil in Jerusalem. America supports the Jews. Everybody know that. America always trying to protect the so-called Jews. Right? So what Babylon did evil in Zion, which is Jerusalem? Ancient Babylon. Remember Nebuchadnezzar destroyed Jerusalem under Zedekiah, remember? All you got to do is read. How is this America? But keep reading.
Behold, I am against thee, O destroying mountain, saith the Lord, which destroyeth all the earth.
He said, which destroyeth all the earth. Remember, God told you in Jeremiah 25 that he was going to bring Nebuchadnezzar upon Jerusalem and all the nations. Not just Jerusalem. So did he destroy the world if that's the case? Yes, this ain't talking about no America. How'd you even get America out of this? Because you wanted to be America. And you're deceiving people. Oh, judgment day gonna be real ugly for a lot of black Hebrew Israelites. I'm telling y'all that now. It's gonna be real ugly because they are removing you from one deception and replacing it with an even bigger one. They have taken you out of the Sunday church and have integrated you into a black Hebrew cult. That's all they did. That's why I don't claim none of that black Israel stuff. I know Israel was black. I know that. And I know Israel went into captivity. I know that. And I know that there are black people walking around today who must be descendants of ancient Israel. They gotta be. But I don't know for sure who's who. That's a part of the prophecy that you wouldn't be able to identify who it is. But I know it has to be somebody. It has to be. But I don't get caught up in, oh, I'm Israel. I'm spiritual Israel. That's who I am. That's the one thing I can prove. I can't prove I'm Israel according to the flesh. After all the stuff that happened since that time, for us to think that we can actually prove that we Israel by blood? Give me a break. All the mixture and rape that went on during slavery? Let's be serious. We can't prove that. But we can prove that we're spiritual Israel, and we can prove that based on prophecy, some black people walking around here, a lot of black people walking around here, must be Israel. They just gotta be. Right? But the point is, this is talking about ancient Babylon, because he said, I'm going to destroy you for what you did to Zion, which is Jerusalem. Right? But keep reading.
I will stretch out my hand upon thee, and roll thee down from the rocks.
What book are we reading this in?
Jeremiah.
Didn't you say Jeremiah was going to be the one that prophesied the destruction of Babylon?
Sir.
But keep reading.
And will make thee a burnt mountain, and they shall not take of thee a stone for a corner, nor a stone for foundations, but thou shalt be desolate forever, saith the Lord.
And ancient Babylon is modern day Iraq. And to this day, it lies in ruins. To this day. Babylon was never established as an empire again. That's what it means when it says it ain't going to be inhabited. It would never again be established as an empire. It don't mean that nobody will ever live there again. It just means it would never be established as its former empire. That's what it means. It would never be inhabited again under the banner of Babylon. That's what that means. Go ahead and read.
Set ye up a standard in the land. Blow the trumpet among the nations. Prepare the nations against her.
He said, prepare the nations against her. Against who? Babylon. But they'll say this is talking about America. Watch what it says. We already seen what it said to Medes, right? Watch what it says again. Go ahead.
Call together against her the kingdom of Arad, Mini, and Ashkenaz. Appoint a captain against her. Call the horses to come up as the rough cavalry.
Go ahead.
Prepare against her the nations with the kings of the Medes.
Hold up. Prepare against her the nations with the kings of the Medes. Big baby. Did the Medo-Persian Empire destroy ancient Babylon? Yes. So what Babylon is this talking about? Ancient Babylon. But they take you here. Y'all know I'm not lying. They take you here. All you got to do is go on YouTube. Go on these websites. They got Jeremiah 50. They got Jeremiah 51. They also got Isaiah 13 and 14. We're going to go there too. And I'm going to show you that still talking about ancient Babylon. Ancient Babylon, sisters and brothers. What they are doing is they go to Revelations and they see that a spiritual Babylon is mentioned there. They got that right. They can see it's a spiritual Babylon. But what they do is what is called reverse reasoning. They see a spiritual Babylon that's based off of ancient Babylon, and what they do is they take that concept of a spiritual Babylon and apply it to the original Babylon. That's wrong. That is ignorant. That's just like me going into Genesis chapter 18 and 19 and reading about Sodom and Gomorrah being destroyed. Nobody would argue with me that that's the literal Sodom and Gomorrah. But I can also go later on in Scripture and read about other places spiritually being called Sodom and Gomorrah. But nobody will try to say, if I go back and read about the original Sodom and Gomorrah, that's the spiritual Sodom and Gomorrah. They'll say, no, that's the real Sodom and Gomorrah. The one you read about later on is the Sodom and Gomorrah type. Right? Nobody does that with Sodom and Gomorrah, but when it comes to Babylon, they read about a spiritual Babylon later, and they want to reverse reason a spiritual Babylon on the original physical Babylon. That's ignorance. That's stupidity. It's time for us to wake up and get true understanding. It's time to embrace absolute Bible truth. It's Time to embrace it. Stop running from it. Stop trying to kick against it. Stop denying it. This is ancient Babylon. He said, I'm going to stir up the Medes against them. Right? Go ahead and finish it out.
The captains thereof, and all the rulers thereof, and all the land of his dominion.
Right? And all the land of his dominion. So, who did God say he was going to use to destroy the kingdom of Babylon? And historically, from a historical standpoint, who destroyed Babylon? The Medes. We read that. And we're going to read the fulfillment of that, right? Let's go to Daniel chapter 5. Because Nebuchadnezzar's grandson, Belshazzar, had took the vessels that were taken out of God's temple, like the drinking vessels and stuff. And they were having this festival. And he praised the gods of silver and the gods of gold, pagan gods with God's holy vessels. So God made this hand come on the wall and started writing in this unknown language. And everybody saw it. This is where the phrase, the handwriting on the wall, came from. Right? And he was trying to get his wise men and his astrologers to interpret the writing, but none of them could. So finally, somebody suggested Daniel, because he said, Daniel revealed stuff to your father. Maybe he can understand this writing. And watch what Daniel tells Belshazzar the writing means and what happened. Daniel chapter 5, pick it up at verse 22. Like I said, this is not hard, is it? Is anybody confused yet? Is anybody like, he lost me? This is real simple, ain't it? That's all we're doing is just reading all the way through. We ain't jumping around or nothing. You can go back and read all of these prophecies against Babylon on your own time, and you'll see every last one of them about ancient Babylon. Go back and read all of them on your own time. Right? The concept of Babylon being spiritual did not come into New Testament times, sisters and brothers. And I'm going to show you that too. That's a New Testament concept. Right? Daniel chapter 5, pick it up at verse 22. Go ahead and read.
And thou, his son, O Belshazzar, hast not humbled thy heart, though thou knowest all this.
See, Daniel said, though you know everything God did to Nebuchadnezzar, your father, you still ain't humbled yourself, even though you knew all of this. Go ahead and read.
But hast lifted up thyself against the Lord of heaven, and they have brought the vessels of his house before thee, O thou and thy lords. Thy wives and thy concubines have drunk wine in them, and thou hast praised the gods of silver and gold, of brass, iron, wood, and stone, which see not, nor hear, nor know, and the God in whose hand thy breath is, and who are all thy ways thou hast not glorified.
It said, you have defiled God's holy vessels by praising the gods of silver, gold, and brass. Right? That's what Belshazzar did. Everybody was drinking out of them like they were common kitchenware. Right? But watch what he says your punishment is going to be for this. Go ahead and read, because he's going to interpret that writing on the wall. Daniel wills. Go ahead.
Then was a part of the hand sent from him, and this was the writing. And this is the writing that was written, many, tekel you foreseen. This is an interpretation of the thing. Many, God hath numbered the kingdom, and it is finished.
He said, God has numbered your kingdom and finished it. What kingdom is this? Babylon. He's numbered your kingdom and finished it. Go ahead and read.
Tekel, thou art weighed in the balances, and art found wanting.
You have been weighed in the scales, and you are lacking. Right? Go ahead.
Perez, thy kingdom is divided and given to the Medes and Persians.
Hold up. Your kingdom is divided and given to the Medes and Persians. The Medo-Persian Empire. He's telling you right here, this is the writing on the wall, Belshazzar. Babylon is to be destroyed by the Medes and Persians. But we already knew that from reading Jeremiah. We already knew that. Go ahead and read.
Then commanded Belshazzar, and they clothed Daniel with scarlet, and put a chain of gold about his neck, and made a proclamation concerning him, that he should be the third ruler in the kingdom. And in that night was Belshazzar, the king of the Chaldeans, slain.
In that night was Belshazzar, the king of the Chaldeans, slain. He was assassinated. Go ahead and read.
And Darius, the Median, took the kingdom, being about 70 years old.
Hold up. And Darius, the who?
The Median.
He was a Mede. After Babylon was conquered, because if you read history, it tells you it was conquered. The way it reads in the Bible is just kind of just jumping straight to the next event. But history tells you it was a war. They were conquered. And And we know from reading prophecy there was going to be a war because it's about stirring up the archers and the sword against them and all of that stuff, right? But it said Darius the Mede. So your Bible is plainly telling you, and history, that whichever Babylon this is talking about was destroyed by the Medes. Which Babylon was destroyed by the Medes? Ancient Babylon. So why are you taking me here and saying it's America? Why? Because you're deceiving me. You're deceiving the people. Every black Hebrew Israelite who stands on the corner holding up those signs in their major city needs to be listening to this right now. They need to hear this. Because if they really listen to this and humble their hearts and open their minds, they will know they are being deceived. But yet, what are they going to do when this is uploaded on YouTube? They're going to come on my channel and they're going to be mad at me. They ain't going to go back and say to their elder, man, this is talking about ancient Babylon and ancient Israel. Man, you misinterpreted, you got this wrong. No, they're going to come on the channel and they're going to curse me out. Or they may come in here later on, you know, Lisi probably already done bounce some of them. Or they're going to come in here after doing question and answer and say, man, you deceived, or you an Uncle Tom. They're going to come up with all kinds of slurs and insults because they're mad. But I don't get mad when people disagree with absolute Bible truth. I just say, okay, what's your disagreement? Let's sit down and talk about it. What am I going to get mad for? But I do get mad when I see all of these people being deceived by a lie that is so easily disproven. It's so easy to disprove this. All you got to do is know how to read. That's it. This is not complicated, right? But they go here. But only thing I do is go to Daniel and just ask them, which Babylon was destroyed by the Medes? That's ancient Babylon, right? And it was the Medo-Persian. Now that was destroyed, then Cyrus, the Persian, gave Israel permission. God stirred up his spirit, and he gave Israel permission to go back and rebuild Jerusalem. That's in Ezra, right? After the Medo-Persian Empire destroyed Babylon, Cyrus let Israel go back in Jerusalem because the 70 years was up. Okay, 70 years up. God is plainly telling you what's going on, but for some reason, these black Hebrew Israelites act like they're too stupid to keep up. He's plainly telling you because somebody's not reading. You have to be a high school dropout not to be able to see this stuff. Ooh, I take that back because this is some high school dropouts who probably listening right now, and I bet y'all understand it. So these guys are actually dumber than high school dropouts. Come on, y'all. This is not hard. But let's move on. I'm going to take you down to Isaiah 13. They go there too. Let's go to Isaiah 13. Oh, they love this one. They love this one right here, boy. I remember the class I came from. Boy, any lesson dealing with the end times, the teachers open up with this one. Let's go to Isaiah 13, sisters and brothers. This is talking about spiritual Babylon. This ain't talking about ancient Babylon. No, no, no. This is talking about ancient Babylon, and we know one of the key ways to know. First of all, if it mentions Nebuchadnezzar, game over. Ancient Babylon. If it mentions the Medes playing a role in its destruction, game over. Ancient Babylon. That's the only thing you need to look for. That Nebuchadnezzar and or the Medes. You already know which one you're dealing with. And if it starts out talking about ancient Babylon and it mentions Nebuchadnezzar or the Medes, then they got to be ancient Babylon all the way through. You can't say, well, later on, it started talking about spiritual Babylon. Why would it do that? Why would it do that? You follow what I'm saying? Jeremiah was sent to prophesy the destruction of ancient Babylon 70 years after they destroyed Jerusalem. We plainly read that. This is not hard, right? But Isaiah chapter 13, pick it up in verse 1. Go ahead and read.
The burden of Babylon with Isaiah the son of Amoz did see.
The burden of who?
Babylon.
So we know we're talking about Babylon. But are we talking about a spiritual future or present Babylon? Or are we talking about ancient Babylon? And see, this is the one that they can use very easy to deceive people because all this apocalyptic language in it. But if you go and view my video on YouTube titled The Apocalyptic Language of the Bible Misinterpreted, you will see that even though it sounds like end time prophecy, it's already happened. But we're going to see that very shortly. So now we know we're talking about Babylon. Let's skip down to verse 13. Let's get right into this. I ain't gonna deal with the stars withdrawing their light and all that stuff, because I dealt with that in the apocalyptic language class. If you want to get understanding of what that's talking about, go view that video, or I can break it down and you do a question and answer later. I'm not interested in that right now. We're just trying to figure out what Babylon this is, right? Go down to verse 13 and read.
Therefore I will shake the heavens, and the earth shall remove out of her place, in the wrath of the Lord of hosts, and in the day of his fierce anger. And it shall be as the chase roe, and as a sheep that no man taketh up. They shall every man turn to his own people, and flee everyone into his own land.
And see, like I said, they take this and they say, see, when God comes back and destroys America or this Babylonian system, everybody gonna return back to their own land. This is not talking about this. This is talking about ancient Babylon. This happened when God destroyed ancient Babylon. Go ahead and read.
Everyone that is found shall be thrust through, and everyone that is joined unto them shall fall by the sword.
See, the black Hebrews will take you here. And they'll say, see, everybody that's in America going to be killed. They're going to fall by the sword. And then it's going to all end with a big nuclear destruction. And they go here too and read this.
Their children also shall be dashed to pieces before their eyes. Their houses shall be spoiled, and their wives racked.
I've even seen black Hebrews go here and try to tell white people that this means that we're going to be raping your women. What? God don't say it's saints to rape people? These guys are insane. No. He's telling you that the Medes are going to do this to the ancient Babylonians when they destroy them. And we don't see that, right? Because we know we're talking about Babylon, right? Go ahead and read.
Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them.
Read that again.
Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them.
Read that again.
Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them.
Now read it one more time and read it like you reading it to somebody real stupid. Go ahead.
Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them.
Now, who is he going to throw the Medes against, big baby? What we just read in verse 1? Against Babylon. So what Babylon is this talking about?
Ancient.
Got to be ancient people. Because he said he's going to stir up the Medes against them. And we know that the ancient Babylon was destroyed by the Medes. We verify that in the book of Daniel. I will stir up the Medes against them. So what Babylon is this talking about? Ancient. So why are they taking you here and telling you this is America? Twisting scripture. You've been deceived again. But finish reading that.
We shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it. Their bows also shall dash the young men to pieces.
Their bows. Whose bows? The bows of the Medes. They're going to dash the young men of Babylon to pieces. Go ahead and read.
And they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb, that I shall not spare children.
Whose eye ain't going to spare children? The Medes. That's what we're reading about. Like I said, all you got to do is know how to read. That's all you got to do. And y'all know that ancient Babylon was destroyed by the Medo-Persian Empire. Y'all know that. No black Hebrew Israelite with a lick of sense is going to jump up and argue that. So tell me this. If this is America, America going to be destroyed by the Medo-Persians? How's America going to be destroyed by the Medo-Persians and be the Babylon in Revelations when the Bible tells you that the Babylon in Revelation is going to be destroyed by the Lord himself? So now that's a contradiction. Whatever Babylon is in Revelation, it's going to be destroyed by the Lord himself. It tells you that. It ain't going to be another country destroyed. It's going to be destroyed by the Lord himself. That's what it tells you, right? So what I'm trying to figure out is, and if you don't believe it's going to be destroyed by the Lord himself, then go in Revelation and show me where the Medo-Persians is going to destroy this Babylon. Show me that. Even if God do raise up other nations and use them to destroy this spiritual Babylon, show me that it's going to be the Medo-Persians. This is about ancient Babylon. That's what this is talking about. And plus, no black Hebrew has ever told you that America is going to be destroyed by the Medo-Persians. They never teach that. Because they know that happened to ancient literal Babylon. So what Babylon is this talking about? Ancient Babylon, sisters and brothers. Real simple, ain't it? Finish reading that.
And Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees, excellency, shall be as when God overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah.
Now notice God is comparing this Babylon here with Sodom and Gomorrah. So in a sense, Babylon was a spiritual Sodom and Gomorrah. In a sense. right? Because it was wicked, just like Sodom and Gomorrah, right? But you wouldn't go back and read Genesis 18 and 19 and tell me that Sodom and Gomorrah is talking about physical Babylon. Because if I go by your reasoning, then guess what? This would mean that physical Sodom and Gomorrah back then was a physical Babylon. There was physical Babylon. That's called reverse reasoning. You don't reverse reason, people. You reason in the right direction. Okay, we're reading about ancient Babylon here. So later on, if we read about a spiritual Babylon, that means that spiritual Babylon is based on ancient Babylon, or it's a Babylonian type, right? But you don't go back to the ancient Babylon prophecies and say, oh, this is that spiritual Babylon. That's ignorance. That's stupidity, right? But we still in Isaiah. Go right over to chapter 14, baby. Because they go here too. And I know this sounds so true. Oh my God, this got to be in the future. Look what it's going to say. 14 and 1. Go ahead and read.
For the Lord will have mercy on Jacob, and will yet choose Israel, and set them in their own land. And the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob.
Boy, that sure sounds futuristic, don't it? But that happened before. You can read that in the book of Ezra. He put them back in their own land. After he destroyed Babylon, Cyrus allowed them to do it. Cyrus helped them do it. He helped finance it. Go ahead and read.
And the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord for servants and handmaids, and they shall take them captives, whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors.
Oh, that got to be the future. Right. You know that's got to be the future. You know good and well this got to be the future. Israel going to be back in the land, and the people who oppress them is going to be serving them. That ain't been fulfilled yet. Have you ever thought that when the Medo-Persians destroyed Babylon, what happened to those people? When you destroy a kingdom, whoever you don't kill in the war becomes your servant. So, if whoever destroyed you is helping another people set up their kingdom again, then they can make those people who you conquered serve the people you helping to set up their kingdom again. In other words, Cyrus easily could take some Babylonians who we conquered and say, y'all go serve Israel and help them do whatever they need to do. It does not have to be future. Right? But I'm going to show you this. Go ahead and read. Go ahead.
And it shall come to pass in the day that the Lord shall give thee rest from thy sorrow, and from thy fear, and from the hard bondage wherein thou wast made to serve, that thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon.
He said, you shall take up this proverb against the king of Babylon. Remember, there were no chapter divisions in the ancient Hebrew text. So, if we were in Isaiah 13 and we were reading about literal Babylon, that means we keep on reading on Isaiah 14, who are we still talking about? Still talking about literal Babylon. Why would we jump thousands of years into the future? Why? There's no logical reason for that. Right? And I'm going to show you, based on what we're reading, that this is still talking about ancient Babylon. I'm going to let you see that for yourself. Go ahead and read.
And say, how hath the oppressor ceased? The golden city ceased. The Lord hath broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers.
What wicked? The wicked Babylonians. Ancient Babylon. Go ahead and read.
Who hath smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke. He that ruled the nations in anger is persecuted and none hindered.
Who ruled over all the nations? You can read that on Jeremiah 27, where God told Jeremiah to tell Israel, I have given all the kingdoms of the world into the king of Babylon, and him shall they serve. That's in Jeremiah 27. So who ruled over the nations? Ancient Babylon. Your Bible tells you that. America does not rule the world. America is a strong country, it's a powerful country, but it does not rule the world. It can influence the stuff, but America do not rule the world. Who told you that? Where you get that from? America rules the world? No, America don't rule the world. If America ruled the world, then tell me this. How come everybody ain't under America's laws and policies? When ancient Babylon ruled the world, everybody had to do what Nebuchadnezzar said do. Everybody. You had to pay taxes to Nebuchadnezzar. If America ruled the world, then how come everybody don't pay taxes to America? Shoot, to be perfectly honest, everybody in America don't even have to pay taxes. How come the whole world ain't got America's Constitution in their laws and decrees if we rule the world? That's what it means to rule the world. It means everybody do what you say do. Everybody doing the same thing. That's ruling the world. America does not rule the world. America is just a powerful country. And America's not even a rich country anymore. People say America's a rich country. Being trillions of dollars in debt? How in the world is a country that's trillions of dollars in debt rich? When you owe somebody, you are not rich. Remember, it says that the borrower is subject to the lender. So when you're in debt to somebody, you're in subject to them, which means you're under them. America is trillions of dollars in debt. So that means they're in subject to a lot of people, doesn't it? So how are they ruling the world? See how ignorant that is? See how stupid that is? This Babylon that we're reading about here is a Babylon that ruled the world. Ancient Babylon did. Read your Bible, it'll tell you that. It's not hard, right? But it said, he who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke, he that ruled the nations in anger is persecuted and none hindered. That word is actually don't appear in the written. It just says persecuted and none hindered, meaning he did whatever he wanted to, ancient Babylon, and nobody stopped him. Right? But let me show you this to prove to you that this is ancient Babylon. Skip down to verse 12 and read.
How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning?
Wait a minute. Who is this talking about? This is talking about the king of Babylon. But Josh, you told us that Lucifer is talking about Satan. Who do you think was the spirit behind the king of Babylon? It's still talking about the king of Babylon, and as you keep reading, it's going to tell you that. Go ahead and read.
How art thou cut down to the ground, which did weaken the nation?
We did weaken the nation. The ancient Babylonians weakened the nation because they ruled everybody. Tell you that, Jeremiah 25, he's going to destroy all the nations. When you destroy something, don't that weaken it? Go ahead and read.
For thou hast said in thy heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the side of the north.
And if you read Psalms 48 and 2, it lets you know that the mount on the congregation of the side of the north is Jerusalem. He tells you that. And he did destroy Jerusalem. Go ahead and read.
I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High.
This is what the king of Babylon thought about himself. This is either Sennacherib or Nebuchadnezzar. That's what he thought about himself. Go ahead and read.
Yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit.
Mm-hmm.
They that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, Is this the man that made the earth to tremble?
Is this the man that made the earth to tremble? Didn't it tell you in Jeremiah 25 that Babylon was going to destroy all the nations? If you destroy all the nations, wouldn't that make the world tremble? It's about ancient Babylon. But keep reading.
That did shape kingdoms, that made the world as a wilderness.
It said that made the world as a wilderness. Go ahead.
And destroyed the city thereof, and opened not the house of his prisoners.
Who did all this? Ancient Babylon did that. Let's go back and read Jeremiah 25 if you don't believe me. Right? But now, skip down to verse 21 and watch what it tells you.
Prepare slaughter for his children, for the iniquity of their fathers, that they do not rise, nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities.
It said, prepare the slaughter for his children, for the iniquity of their fathers, meaning, because of what these people did in Babylon, their children are going to suffer when God destroys them. Go ahead and read.
For I will rise up against them, saith the Lord of hosts, and cut off from Babylon the name, and remembrance, and remnant, and son and nephew, saith the Lord.
It said, and son and nephew, says the Lord. Right? Which Babylon is this talking about? Ancient Babylon. This is talking about ancient Babylon. He's talking about the king of Babylon. This ain't talking about America. All you got to do is just keep reading. Isaiah 4:13 lets you know what he's talking about. How did he say he was going to destroy Babylon? By the means. And we're still reading about it. That's why he said, I will rise up against them, says the Lord of hosts, and cut off from Babylon the name and remnant, the son and nephew, says the Lord. How are you going to do that? You just read in Isaiah 13. Don't stir the means against them. You just read it. You forgot what you read already? Then you go on Isaiah 14. Still talking about the king of Babylon. But, oh no, that's the future. No. Like like I said, if they talk about the king of Babylon, Nebuchadnezzar, or it say me somewhere in there, you know which one you're talking about, right? But now, let's keep moving, because I got to deal with this. This is my favorite part of the lesson. The daughter of Babylon. Because they'll tell you, if it says daughter of Babylon, it can't mean Babylon. I had a guy on YouTube leave a comment on my video about the red dragon in Revelation 12. Gonna say, see, it says the daughter of Babylon, not Babylon. See, daughter means somebody who's doing the same thing that Babylon did. It ain't talking about Babylon. That is ignorant. I'm going to show you what it means when they say daughter of Babylon. I'm also going to show you what it means when they say daughter of Zion. I'm going to show you. Let's go to Psalm 137. Because boy, they take you here. I'm dismantling all the stuff they go to. I'm just putting it into proper historical context. That's all I'm doing. All you got to do is read it all the way through. These people, I'm telling you, man, these black Hebrews, man, I be watching them, and I can't decide whether I want to laugh at them or cry. Because the amount of illiteracy that they suffer from is just incredible. And I've never seen so many people in my life try to pretend to be smart. I've never seen that many people fake it to make it that much. Never seen that many people do it. And I'm not talking about all black Hebrews, like I'm never talking about all black Hebrews. Because there's some real intelligent ones out there. I'm talking about the ones that be on that corner, holding up them signs, talking about America's Babylon. It's about Esau the white man. I'm talking about them. People. Just read it in context. Psalm 137. Go ahead and read. Verse 1. 137 to 1.
By the rivers of Babylon, there we sat down. Yeah, we kept when we remember Zion. We wept when we remember Zion.
Now they'll take you and say, see, Babylon is America, right? So we sat by the rivers of America because we were brought over here on slave ships. So the slaves were weeping when they got brought to America on slave ships. Even I got to admit that sounds very good. But most good lies do, don't they? Right? But let's keep reading this in context, because we know that ancient Israel went into captivity to the ancient Babylonians. So you trying to tell me they weren't weeping back then either?
Pretty sure it was.
They were weeping back then too. Oh, we're going to go into captivity to the ancient Babylon, but we're going to be soldiers. We ain't nobody crying. But we get over to this American slavery. Oh, that now it got to be talking about America and talking about somebody weeping. That's how stupid that is. Plus it tells you in the scripture they were going to be weeping. In other scriptures. But go ahead and read.
We hanged our harps upon the willows in the midst thereof. For there they that carried us away captive require of us a song, and they that wasted us require of us mirth. Sing us one of the songs of Zion.
Like I said, boy, woo, strong delusion. Because they'll take you here, and they'll even show you in history how when black people were slaves over here in America, the slave masters told them to sing while they worked. And some slave narratives even record they told them to sing about Zion. Why do you think a lot of Negro spirituals is about going back to Jerusalem? Because they knew who they were. They were either Israel according to the flesh, or they were one of the black nations that joined over to Israel and kept the ways of Israel, but they knew who they were. They were singing about these songs. So, yes, that sounds like this, but no, this is not that. This is talking about ancient Babylon, and you're going to see it. Go ahead and read.
How shall we sing the Lord's song in a strange land?
Babylon was a strange land for Israel. How can we sing the Lord's song in a strange land? Go ahead.
If I forget thee, O Jerusalem, let my right hand forget her coming.
Now, notice he said, if I forget you, O Jerusalem, let my right hand forget its cunning. Why is the psalmist saying this? Because they were taken from Jerusalem. Go ahead and read.
If I do not remember thee, let my tongue cleave to the roof of my mouth. If I prefer not Jerusalem above my chief joy.
Now, this is going to be proof that this is talking about ancient Israel. Because look what it said Edom was doing during this time, when they were taken from Jerusalem. Go ahead and read.
Remember, O Lord, the children of Edom in the day of Jerusalem.
It said in the day of Jerusalem. What day of Jerusalem? The day it was destroyed. So we know this is talking about a destruction, right, of Jerusalem. But what destroyed? Because Jerusalem was destroyed by the Babylonians and it was destroyed by the Romans. So which one is this talking about? Go ahead and read.
Who said, raise it, even to the foundation thereof.
And raise it means tear it down, demolish it, destroy it. So whatever Jerusalem we talking about, Edom, when it was getting destroyed, was telling whoever that was destroying it, tear it up, tear it up. They were cheering it on, right? Go ahead and read.
O daughter of Babylon, who art to be destroyed.
Wait a minute. O daughter of Babylon. So who was destroying Jerusalem? Babylon. So which Babylon destroyed ancient Jerusalem? Ancient Babylon. This is simple. And Edom was cheering it on. Not knowing that shortly thereafter, Babylon was going to come and get him too. Right? This is ancient Babylon. But the point I'm taking you here to see is it said, O daughter of Babylon. Can you read it? Starting over again, verse 8.
O daughter of Babylon, who art to be destroyed, happy shall he be that rewardeth thee as thou hast served.
See, they will take you here. And they will say, this is not talking about ancient Babylon because it says daughter of Babylon. So this must be talking about a spiritual, symbolic Babylon. Wrong. I'm going to show you in the scriptures, sisters and brothers, exactly what it means when it says daughter of Babylon. And I'm going to prove that by first showing you what it means when it says daughter of Zion. Let's turn right over to Lamentations. It's that little book right after Jeremiah. It don't make no sense I have to even explain this. See, it says daughter of Babylon, sister and brother. See, he wrong. It didn't say Babylon. It said daughter of Babylon. That's a difference. No, it's not. They are the same thing. Well, why would he call it the daughter? If the daughter of Babylon and Babylon being the same thing? I'm going to show you why he called it that. If you will calm down. Lamentations, chapter 1. I love starting at verse 1. You know why? Because you get the context of what you're reading. The black Hebrew. Let's go to Jeremiah 50. Let's start at verse 28. Then they'll rip one little verse off, and then let's move on to this. See, we're reading line upon line. That's why you're not reading line upon line. You're reading lies upon lies. That's what you're reading. Right? Lamentations 1 and verse 1. Now watch what it says. Go ahead.
How doth the city sit solitary that was full of people?
This is talking about Jerusalem, also known as Zion. This is talking about the aftermath, after it was destroyed. Go ahead.
How is she become as a widow? She that was great among the nations and princes among the provinces. How is she become tributary? She weepeth sore in the night.
She weepeth. They go there weeping again. So we wept, right? Go ahead and read.
As her tears are on her cheeks. Among all her lovers, she hath none to comfort her. All her friends have dealt treacherously with her. They are become her enemies.
Everybody who she was fornicating with spiritually and serving their gods, they don't became their enemy. Go ahead and read.
Judah is gone into captivity.
Judah is gone into captivity. The kingdom of Judah, which was in Jerusalem, right? So we know we talking about Judah. We know we talking about ancient Israel, right? Ancient Israel, particularly the kingdom of Judah. Go ahead and read.
Because of affliction and because of great servitude, she dwelleth among the heathen. She findeth no rest. All her persecutors overtook her between the straits. The ways of Zion do mourn.
Hold up, the ways of Zion do mourn. What Zion are we talking about, baby? Ancient Zion. No mistake there, right? Why is Zion mourning, big baby? Because it was destroyed, right? We know that, right? The ways of Zion mourn. Everybody will agree with this. Nobody's going to debate that. Go ahead and read.
Because none come to the solemn feast.
Can't come to the solemn feast without Jerusalem, sisters and brothers. But that's another lesson. Go ahead.
All her gates are desolate. Her priests sigh. Her virgins are afflicted, and she is in bitterness.
Now notice it called it Zion, right? And we know Zion is ancient Jerusalem. We know that. But watch how it switches up and calls it something else. Even though it's still going to be talking about the same thing. Go ahead and read.
Her adversaries are the chief. Her enemies prosper. For the Lord hath afflicted her for the multitude of her transgressions. Her children are gone into captivity before the enemy.
Who should? Zion, right? Okay, now read verse 6. What it says?
And from the daughter of Zion, all her beauty is departed.
Wait a minute. The who Zion?
The daughter of Zion.
But what did they call it at first?
Zion.
Just plain Zion, right? Then it switches up and it calls it what?
Daughter of Zion.
So what does daughter of Zion mean, sisters and brothers? Just the inhabitants of the land of Zion. That's all it means. It does not mean a spiritual Zion later on in the future. Because if that's what daughter of Babylon means, then you have to say that this is what this means right here. But you can tell by the context that it's still talking about old ancient Zion. You can tell that by the context. Because we were just talking about the destruction of Zion, and then we still talking about the destruction of Zion, but he called it the daughter of Zion. And I'm going to show you that it does the same thing with Babylon in the scriptures. I'm going to show you where it started out calling it Babylon, then talking about the same place, it said daughter of Babylon. You have been deceived again into thinking that daughter of Babylon means a spiritual Babylon type later in the future. That is a lie. Only thing daughter of Babylon means is the inhabitants of the land of ancient Babylon. That's all it means. And I'm going to show you that shortly. But first, let's go over to chapter 2. Let's go right over to Lamentations chapter 2 and pick it up at verse 1. And we're going to see that again. Go ahead and read.
How hath the Lord covered the daughter of Zion with a cloud in his anger?
Hold up. The daughter of Zion, we just got through reading in chapter 1 that it just called it plain Zion. They call him the daughter of Zion. He's still talking about Zion, but it just means the inhabitants. And it switches back and forth. But still talking about the same thing. Go ahead and read. Watch what it says.
And cast down from heaven unto the earth the beauty of Israel, and remember not his footstool in the day of his anger.
Now it's talking about Israel. Now it just calls it Israel. Talking about the same thing. You can read about a lot of nations in prophecy being called daughter of whatever nation he was talking to. But because these ignorant, uneducated black Hebrews don't know what they're talking about, they put their own interpretation on scripture and they deceive you. That's all daughter of mean, the inhabitants of it. And I'm going to show you that with Babylon. I know some of y'all, well, it just means that with Zion. You can't show me that with Babylon. Yes, I can. Just give me a minute. But go ahead and read.
The Lord hath swallowed up all the inhabitants of Jacob.
No, the habitation.
The habitation of Jacob.
Which means the same thing. What they inhabited. He has destroyed all the habitations of Jacob, right? Go ahead and read.
Have not pity. He hath thrown down in his wrath the stronghold of the daughter of Judah.
Wait a minute. He hath thrown down in his wrath the strongholds, the who of Judah?
Daughter.
The daughter of Judah. But if you go back to chapter 1 and verse 3, it said just Judah. So now it's using the same terminology even with Judah. So I guess daughter of Judah means some type of later on Judah somewhere.
Future Judah.
Or future Judah. Or spiritual Judah. No. Still talking about the same Judah. Daughter of it means the inhabitants of that people. That's all it means. But finish reading that.
He hath brought them down to the ground. He hath polluted the kingdoms and the princes.
When did God do this, big baby? When he destroyed ancient Israel by the ancient Babylonians. But I took you to show you that the Bible terminology of daughter of just simply means the inhabitants or residents of that land. And I'm showing you that concerning Zion. Now I'm going to show you that concerning Babylon. Let's go back to Jeremiah chapter 50. And we already know from reading Jeremiah chapter 50 that there was ancient Babylon. We know that. Some black Hebrews be killing me. It said daughter of. It didn't say Babylon. It said daughter of Babylon. See, America is a daughter of Babylon, which means she's a Babylon type. No. Ignorant. Daughter of just simply means inhabitant of. That's all it means. When you see daughter of in the scriptures referring to anybody as a nation, it just means the inhabitants of that nation or the people of that nation. That's all it means. I'm going to show you that concerning Babylon. Right? So you can get that daughter of lie out of here. Jeremiah 50. And we still got to identify where the spirit of Babylon is. We ain't even did that yet. Jeremiah 50. And pick it up in verse 34. Just so y'all can see from scripture what daughter of Babylon means. It just means the inhabitants of Babylon that you were reading about. And it's ancient Babylon. We already proved that. Jeremiah 50, verse 34. Go ahead and read.
Their Redeemer is strong. The Lord of hosts is his name.
Israel Redeemer is strong. Go ahead.
He shall thoroughly plead their cause, that he may give rest to the land, and disquiet the inhabitants of Babylon.
Disquiet the who of Babylon? The inhabitants. Disquiet means disturb. Right? He's going to disturb the inhabitants of Babylon. We already know how he's going to do it by the means. Right? Go ahead and read.
A sword is upon the Chaldeans, saith the Lord, and upon the inhabitants of Babylon.
And upon the who of Babylon?
Inhabitants.
Okay, go ahead.
And upon her princes, and upon her wise men.
And we know that sword that God used was the meat. We know that. This ain't talking about no America. This is talking about ancient Babylon. Right? Okay, now skip down to verse 40 and watch what God calls this Babylon. We just seen how he called it Babylon twice. Right? Go ahead and read.
As God overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah, and the neighbor cities thereof, saith the Lord, so shall no man abide there, neither shall any son of man dwell therein.
Talking about ancient Babylon. Ain't nobody gonna dwell there. How God gonna do it? Through the meat. Right? Go ahead and read.
Behold, a people shall come from the north, and a great nation, and many kings shall be raised up against from the coast of the earth.
And we know these kings were the people who joined with the Medes and Persians to do this. We know this, right? We proved that. Go ahead and read.
They shall hold the bow and the lance. They are cruel and will not show mercy.
They ain't gonna show any mercy toward who, baby? Babylon, right? And he called it Babylon. Watch what it say. Go ahead.
Their voice shall roar like the sea, and they shall ride upon horses, everyone put in array, like a man to the battle against thee, O daughter of Babylon.
Hold on, oh, who Babylon?
Daughter of Babylon.
Didn't just call it plain Babylon earlier? Now it switched up and said, oh, daughter of Babylon. So when you see daughter of Babylon, sisters and brothers, it does not mean a future spiritual Babylon. It just means the inhabitants of ancient Babylon. You've seen it for yourself. It started out early, it called it Babylon twice, and then it's still talking about what he's going to do to that Babylon, and he turned around and say, oh, daughter of Babylon. So when you go to Psalms 137, it says daughter of Babylon. It does not mean some future Babylon, which is America, and Israel was weeping as they went into captivity as slaves in America. That is not what that is talking about. That is talking about ancient Babylon. Why? Because it told you that when it was being destroyed, Edom was over there saying, tear it down, tear it down. When Jerusalem was being destroyed, Edom was saying, tear it down, tear it down. That happened in 580-something BCE. So that's talking about ancient Babylon. They have twisted the scripture once again. Daughter of Babylon just simply means inhabitant of Babylon. If you don't believe me, go into the prophecy and read in other places where nations are called daughter of, daughter of, daughter of. He's still talking about that nation. Daughter of to mean the inhabitant. That's all it means. And we just seen that. He just said, oh, daughter of Babylon. And I have seen so many black Hebrew elders take that daughter of and just build a whole doctrine off of it. And the only thing it means is that the inhabitants of that land. That's all it means. And y'all just saw that for yourself. Just saw it. But now, let's move on. Let's go over to Revelation 17. Now it's time to identify this Babylon in Revelation. And we're going to take our time and read this. Because as y'all can see, all of the places I've taken you to, that they try to take you to, was clearly talking about ancient Babylon. No doubt about that. Clearly talking about ancient Babylon. Now let's identify this Babylon. Because some people even say that this woman in Babylon is Israel. I've heard them say that. This woman in Revelation, not Babylon, but this woman in Revelation is Israel. I've heard them say that. And that's wrong too. That's what preterists teach. That's wrong too. Let's go to Revelation 17. We're going to let the Bible interpret the Bible. And we're just going to look up some words. That's all we're going to do. And we're going to use common sense. Revelation 17 and 1. Go ahead and read.
And there came one of the seven angels which had the seven vials, and talked with me, saying, talking to me, saying, come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters.
He said, I'm going to show you the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters. What many people don't understand is that the book of Revelation contrasts two women. One woman is the bride of the Lamb, holy. She wears white. That represents Israel and everybody who convert over to the ways of Israel, who believe in the Messiah, or in other words, the Messiah's true church. The Messiah's true church is made up of physical Israel and everybody who converts over to the ways of physical Israel and who believes in the Messiah. That's one woman. The other woman is the opposite. She is a false church. But he called it a great whore that sit on many waters. Go ahead and read.
With whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication.
It said, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication. And I'm going to show you how the kings of the earth committed fornication with this woman. Because guess what? It was not entirely voluntary. It was not. But when it talks about fornication, if you go back and read in the Old Testament, when God talked about the children of Israel committing fornication, it meant worshiping the gods of the other nations. Or in other words, adopting their religion. Because that's what religion is about, worship. When you worship something, you have a religion. Right? So it says, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, meaning the kings of the earth have joined the religion of this woman. That's what it's all about, or worship the religion of this woman. That's all this is talking about. Go ahead and read.
And the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication.
Have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. Why has her fornication made these people drunk? Because it's not the truth. It's a lie. That's why it's making these people drunk. And when you're drunk, that means you don't know what's going on. You're perceiving things the wrong way. You're seeing things with blurred vision. That's what it means. They said being made drunk, right? But we're going to see who this woman is. Go ahead and read.
So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of names of blasphemy.
Now, let's pay close attention to what they're saying. It says she is sitting on a scarlet-covered beast, right? So she's riding this beast. Don't you know that when we ride on animals, like on horses, or on donkeys, or on camels, we direct them. We control them. So if she's riding on this beast, that means she is controlling this beast. That's why she's riding on it. She's directing it.
Right.
That's why she's riding on it. Think about what you're reading here. Go ahead and read.
Having 7 heads and 10 horns. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color.
It says she was arrayed in purple and scarlet color. This woman, right? Remember, there's 2 women mentioned in Revelation. One who's the bride of the Lamb, his true church. So this woman right here is the opposite. So that must mean some type of false church.
Right.
Because she's the opposite. Go ahead and read.
And that with gold and precious stones, pearls, having a golden cup in her hand.
So she's decked with precious stones, gold, and pearls. So that means this is a rich religious establishment. Got money. That's why she's decked with all these pearls and gold. So this ain't no poor woman. This is a rich religious establishment. All you got to do is just look at the symbolism used. You can tell what it's talking about, right? She's riding the beast, so she's directing. Go ahead and read. And they say the king committed fornication with this woman. Go ahead and read.
Full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication.
Mm-hmm.
And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth.
When John wrote this, ancient Babylon had been destroyed and desolate for centuries. So we know this ain't talking about ancient Babylon. This is talking about a religious church system that has resurrected the ways and paganism of ancient Babylon. America is not a religious church system. That's not America. But keep reading though.
And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints.
It said, I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints. So whoever this woman is has persecuted and killed saints. Drunken with the blood of the saints. Yes, black people were persecuted in America, but not for their beliefs. They were persecuted because they were black. It ain't have nothing to do with you preaching. They persecuted us simply because we were black. This is talking about people who were being persecuted for their belief, the saints. Right? Go ahead and read.
And with the blood of the martyrs of Jesus.
And with the blood of the martyrs of Jesus. Somebody tell me who in America have died for Jesus in the hands of the Americans. Very few, if anybody. It said, the blood of the martyrs of Jesus. This woman has been killing people who believe in the true Jesus of this Bible. But go ahead and read.
And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration.
So when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration. She's called Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots, right? She controls the kings of the earth. And I'm going to show you that she was ruling in John's day. It's going to tell you that, right? But go ahead and read.
And the angel said unto me, wherefore did thou marvel? I will tell thee the mystery of the woman, and of the beast that carried her, which have the 7 heads and the 10 horns.
So I'm going to tell you of the woman and the beast that carried her. We ain't going to focus on the beast, because we focus on the beast in another class. I want to focus on this woman. You follow what I'm saying? Because remember, if this beast is carrying her, she controls it. When you jump on an animal and you ride the animal, you tell that animal which direction to go in. You don't jump on a horse and the horse tell you where it's going. You tell the horse where it's going. Right? Go ahead and read.
The beast that thou sawest was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit, and go into perdition, and they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life.
He said the beast that you saw was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit. This bottomless pit right here is not talking about the abyss where the angels are. This bottomless pit is talking about obscurity. Like, in other words, coming like seemingly out of nowhere. Go ahead and read.
From the foundation of the world, when they beheld the beast that was, and is not, and is yet is.
The beast that was, and is not, and yet is. Right? This sounds like something that was around, left, and then came back.
Right.
That's what that sounds like. Go ahead and read.
And here is the mind which have wisdom.
Here's the mind which have wisdom. Go ahead.
The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth.
They said the 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth. What we're going to do, we're going to go to the Strong Concordance, and we're going to look at the word translated mountains. 3735. Here we go. And the word is oros. And it says, a mountain as lifting itself above the plain. Hill, mount. So it can also be translated hill. Right? So it says, and here is the mind which have wisdom. And here is the mind which have wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 hills on which the woman sitteth. It's giving you a geographic location. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to my favorite dictionary, Webster's New World Dictionary of the American Language, and we're going to look up the 7 hills of Rome. And this is page 679. And amazing, this is in the dictionary. Did I say the old dictionary, what?
Old dictionary.
They'll tell you what it is, 679. This is in a dictionary. 679. We're looking up 7 hills of Rome. And look what it says. 7 hills of Rome. The 7 hills on and about which the city of Rome was built. So who is this referring to in Revelation? Rome. That's Babylon the Great, sisters and brothers. Rome. Not America. That's why I said the 7 hills on which the woman sits. He's giving you a geographic location. The 7 hills of Rome, sisters and brothers. But we're going to continue to prove that to you that this is talking about Rome. Even from the definition of the word Catholic. I'm going to show you that, right? But now, let's go back to the scripture. Pick it up in Revelation 17 and 15. Go ahead and read.
15.
Because he's going to break down the others. So like I said, we ain't dealing with the beast. I want to deal with this woman. Go ahead and read.
He said unto me, the water which thou sawest where the horse sitteth are people, and multitude, and nation, and tongue.
Now he said, and the waters that you saw, where the horse sitteth, where this woman sitteth, this false church sitteth, right? Are peoples, multitudes, nations, and tongues. So that means everybody, right? This woman got everybody. She got people, multitude, nations, and tongues. And you can read her Revelation 13, where everybody is going to worship the beast. Every kindred, everybody, right? From every kindred, nation, tongue, all of that, right? So this sounds universal, don't it? It don't sound like it just aimed at one group of people. This woman is universal, right? Ain't it funny how it's telling you that this woman is focused on everybody? What we're going to do, we're going to go to my favorite dictionary again, and we're going to look up the word Catholic. Page 118. Look up the word Catholic now. Whoever this woman is, she sit on 7 hills. Rome was ruling in John's day. He gave a geographic location, the 7 hills of Rome. Right? Check this out right here. We're going to page 118. Catholic. Look what it said about the woman. She was trying to be around everybody. Language, nation, tongue, multitudes, right? People. Catholic. First definition. Universal. All inclusive. All inclusive. The very definition of Catholic is telling you they want everybody to be a Catholic. Or should I say a Roman Catholic. Universal. I ain't went to this. I'm just looking up words in the dictionary. This is some dictionary right here, sister brother. I keep telling y'all, look at this, right? Look what else it says. All inclusive, of general interest or value. 2, having broad sympathies or understanding. Liberal. 3, of the universal Christian church. Y'all know what universal means? That means everybody. Why in the world would you establish a religion and give it a name which means all-inclusive? Because you're implying that that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to make everybody be a part. Did it say all the kings of the earth have committed fornication with this woman? John knew that this woman was going to deceive the true church. And that when Rome became a so-called Christian nation, it was going to corrupt people with paganism. He gave a geographic location. He said the 7 heads on which the woman sat are 7 mountains. But that word can also be translated hill. And you got the 7 hills of Rome. And you think it's a coincidence that Rome was ruling during the time of John? Where are we getting America from in all this? Ain't got nothing to do with no America. But we're going to go back. Let me show you something. Let's go to Revelation 17 again and read verse 18. Go ahead and read.
And the woman which thou sawest is that great city which reigneth over the kingdom of the earth.
Did it say which did reign?
Which reign?
It's present tense, right? So who was reigning during John's time? The Romans were. The Romans were. He's letting you know, he said, and that woman which thou sawest is that great city, Babylon, which reigneth, not which did reign, not which will reign, which reigneth over the kings of the earth. Who was reigning in John's day? Rome was. Rome. That's talking about Rome. Babylon the Great is talking about Rome, sisters and brothers. And it's talking about Rome as a religious establishment and as a force to be reckoned with too. That's who Babylon is talking about. This ain't talking about no America. Where are they getting this from? You know what I'm saying? This is a religion. The woman in Revelation is the opposite of the Lamb's bride. And both of these women symbolize faith in some kind of religion, some kind of worship. The bride believed in Jesus Christ. The whore believed in this system. But it's a religious system because it said the kings of the earth committed fornication with her. And in the Bible, committing fornication with somebody spiritually always got something to do with some form of worship. It always means that. This is wrong, sisters and brothers. And I'm going to show you some of the stuff they try to throw at you. Stuff. Well, it couldn't be wrong because no, I ain't trying to hear that. Let's move on. Let's go to Revelation 18 and verse 1. Revelation 18 and 1. Go ahead and read.
And after these things I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory.
He said the earth was lightened with his glory. Go ahead and read.
He cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen. Is fallen.
He said Babylon the Great is fallen, is fallen. Who is Babylon the Great? Rome. But as a religious system, Rome still rules. Rome is still rich. As a religious system, look this stuff up if you don't believe. They are still rich. Ancient Rome, as a military might, has been destroyed. We know that. But it still rules the world as a religion. So God's going to have to come back and conquer this religion, this false religion. And that is when Babylon will fall. But go ahead and read.
And it's become the habitation of devils, and the hole of every foul spirit, and the cage of every unclean and hateful bird.
Now this is the key. This next verse we're going to read right here is the key to knowing for sure that this is talking about Rome. Read the next verse. Read it carefully. Go ahead and read.
For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication.
Stop. Notice right here, it didn't just say like it said before, drunk the wine of her fornication. It said the wrath of the, it said, for all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. Y'all know what wrath means when they say you're going to feel my wrath? That means something violent, something bloody. So this fornication or this worship that this woman was trying to induce on people was spread with violence. That's why I said the wrath of her fornication. Fornication in itself just means sleeping with somebody or worshiping, in a spiritual sense, worshiping their God. When you're talking about the wrath of somebody's fornication, this is a forced fornication. This is a violent fornication. And you all know that the Catholic Church spread its religion with violence. You got the Crusades, you got the Spanish Inquisition, you got the Salem witch trial, and much, much more. They made you be a Catholic. You didn't have a choice at one time. That's why I said the wrath of the wine of her fornication. See, when Israel committed fornication in ancient times with these pagan gods, they did it voluntarily. The pagan gods didn't come over and try to force them. No. But when you talk about the wrath of the wine of somebody's fornication, wrath represents angry violence. So they made people do this. That's what this is talking about. America did not try to force no religion on anybody. Matter of fact, when America was established, they came here to get religious independence from England. They didn't come here to try to force a religion on nobody. Do some historical research. This is talking about somebody who tried to force religion, because it's talking about fornication. You know, it's talking about religion, it's talking about worship. It's talking about a system that tried to force a religion on you. Right now in America, we have freedom of religion. People say, well, when America, when it's all set off, they're going to take that freedom of religion away. But it's only one problem, though. This Babylon we're talking about right here, it told you it was already raining in the day of John. So it can't be America. America wasn't even established yet. So we know this is talking about Rome. And Rome historically has done this. Keep reading.
For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication.
All nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication.
And the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her. And the merchants of the earth will wax rich through the abundance of her delicacy.
Yes. The merchants became rich off of this. How did they do that? Well, for one thing, making all of these idols and stuff for them. And people paying you for it. The Catholic Church is very rich right now. America is broke. We are in the middle of a recession right now, sisters and brothers. It's talking about a system that is rich. This ain't talking about no America. This is talking about a religious establishment. That's what this is talking about. Right? But go ahead and read.
And I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plague.
Now he's saying the same thing that was said in ancient times. In ancient times, when God told Israel to come out of Babylon, he meant literally get out of her. Because when I destroy her, you're going to be able to go back to your land. But right here, it's not talking about literally fleeing from this Babylon. I'm going to prove that to you too. This is talking about leaving it spiritually. This is talking about a world institution. Because Rome is at the center of it, but because of what Rome has done, it has deceived the whole world. So it's telling you to come up out of this world. Flee this world spiritually. It ain't talking about you going anywhere. Because when when John wrote this, everybody wasn't staying in Rome. All the Hebrews weren't staying in Rome. So when he wrote this, he was telling you to flee from this paganism. Flee from this worldly system. Babylon in the Bible, sisters and brothers, represent two things. Roman Catholicism or Rome in general, and the world in general. Not America. America is a part of the Babylonian system. It is not Babylon itself. It's a part of it. It's just another cog spinning in this system, helping it go. But it's not the ultimate head of it. Rome is. That's why John said she reigneth. Present tense at that time. Because John was instructed to write about past, present, and future things. If it was going to be something that was future, he could have easily have said that will reign. Because he was given permission to write about past, present, and future things. So if he said reigneth, and he was told to write about present things, we need to look for a woman who was reigning during that time. That was Rome. And you know what's so funny? Rome mirrors Babylon to the T. Ancient Israel was destroyed by, the first temple was destroyed by Babylon. The second temple was destroyed by Rome. The Babylonians took Israel into captivity. Rome took Israel into captivity. The Babylonians took the vessels out of the temple and kept it for themselves. Rome took the vessels out of the temple and kept it for themselves. God had prophets back then telling Israel, submit to the ways of Babylon. Jesus Christ was telling the disciples then, submit to the ways of Rome. Render to Caesar that which is Caesar. Render to God that which is God. Right? Babylon practiced paganism. Rome practices that same Babylonian paganism. I got a whole class where I can show you that Rome was Babylon all over again for Israel. And they recognized that. They saw the similarities, and that's why they gave Rome the nickname Babylon. Nobody in history mirrored Babylon for Israel more than Rome. Nobody. Don't even come close. That's why they called it Babylon. That's why he said the 7 hills on which the Romans sit, and then you got the 7 hills of Rome. He said she ruled, she reigned right now. Rome was reigning during John's time. Then he calls her a woman, the mother of harlots. Right now, Rome is known as the mother church. And you trying to tell me this is America? America don't fit the bill. No shape, form, or fashion. But let's move on. Where did you stop at?
5.
You stopped at 5. Okay, skip down to verse 8 and read. Go ahead.
Therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burned with fire. For strong is the Lord God who judgeth her.
Mm-hmm.
And the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and live deliciously with her shall bewail her and lament her when they shall see the smoke of her burning.
Ain't nobody committing no spiritual fornication with America. This is about a religious system. America says you can worship whatever you want to, right now anyway. And all the nations don't hold the same religious beliefs as America. But when Rome was on the scene, Rome was trying to capitalize the world. And the kings of the earth committed fornication with her. And remember, we just read that the woman was riding this beast, which represents the kings of the earth. Rome controlled the kings of the earth. And they still do to this day. People travel from all over, kings, kissing the Pope's ring. Just like Babylon ruled the world at one time. That's another similarity they got in common. Right? But, finish reading.
Standing afar off from the fear of her torment, saying, Alas, alas, the great city Babylon, the mighty city, for 1 hour is thy judgment come.
Like I said, now it's branching off to Babylon as a world system. It started out by letting you know this woman was behind all of this. Now it's talking about the kings of the earth. This is talking about a world system. God's going to destroy this Babylonian world system that was recreated under the name of Roman Catholicism. Because if you look at Roman Catholicism, it ain't nothing but ancient Babylon worship. From that hat that the Pope wears to that cross that he has. And the constant reverence of idols. That's all it is. Babylon reborn. This is not America. This is talking about something that's religious based. Right? Go ahead and read.
And the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her, for no man buy their merchandise anymore.
Mm-hmm.
The merchandise of gold and silver, precious stones, and of pearls, and fine linen, and purple, and silver, scarlet, and all fine wood.
So all of this stuff is a result of the richness of the Catholic Church ruling the world. Or Rome ruling the world. Rome don't rule the world physically, no, but they do spiritually. Right? That's why everybody goes to church on Sunday. They came from the Roman Catholic Church. You're not even a Catholic. Why are you going to church on Sunday? None in the scriptures tell you to do it. That's why you got your cross and stuff hanging up. The book says we're supposed to have any idols. But you got a cross up. Who established the cross as a religious symbol? Rome did. You don't even understand that you are an undercover Catholic. You don't understand that. I'm not a Catholic, then why are you doing stuff that they instituted? They instituted all this stuff you're doing, but now skip down to verse 20 and read. Watch what it says here.
Rejoice over her, thou heaven, and ye holy apostles and prophets, for God hath avenged you of her.
Now I took you here because this is what people try to use to try to say, this can't be talking about Rome. Why it can't be talking about Rome? Because there were no prophets and apostles during the time of Rome. This had to be talking about something earlier than Rome. And wrong again. You can go to the book of Acts and read Paul's writings, and Paul tells you himself that there were not just 12 apostles, or 13 if you count himself. There were apostles besides the 12 and Paul. And if you read the book of Acts, it tells you there were prophets around there too. This is after the Old Testament time. So they had apostles and prophets during the New Testament time in the churches, the real churches. And when the persecution started, they still had apostles and prophets. So that does not mean just because they said apostles and prophets, it had to be some time before this, because apostles and prophets was in the New Testament time too. You can read that if you don't believe me. It plainly tells you that. So yes, they were still persecuting prophets and apostles. America didn't persecute no prophets and apostles. When the black people came over here as slaves, well, nobody over here come out no thus said the Lord. All they were saying, oh, stop whipping me. That's all they were saying. Wasn't nobody talking about no thus said the Lord or telling nobody to repent. We were just a bunch of slaves being driven, being told what to do. We couldn't even read. How in the world could we be telling people repent and turn to the Lord? The Roman Catholic Church was persecuting all true worshipers. The Sabbath day became illegal. The weekly Sabbath on Saturday was illegal. You had to do what they said do. And yes, there were apostles and prophets even around that time. In another class, I can show you that. Right? But now, skip down to verse 24 and read. Let's see what else she did. Go ahead.
And in her was found the blood of prophets and of saints and of all that were slain upon earth.
In her. In who? Babylon. But who's in Babylon? Rome. Go and read your history. Rome was killing the true worshipers off. They were killing Christians, and they were killing Hebrew Israelites who didn't even believe in Jesus but were still keeping that old covenant law. Rome wasn't trying to hear that. Rome was doing this, sisters and brothers. America wasn't doing this. America wasn't persecuting no prophets. And don't let some dumb black Hebrew try to jump up and try to tell you that they prophets today and they being persecuted, so that's talking about them. No. This is talking about Rome, because it said she reigneth. In John's time, she was already reigning. She was already reigning. Rome was reigning in John's time. And if you do some more historical research, you'll find that all the early Christians, the true ones, knew that Babylon was referring to Rome. They all knew that. It was like a nickname or a code name for Rome. They all knew that. Right? But let's move on. Let's go to Revelation chapter 19. We don't got one more after that. Revelation 19. Pick it up at verse 1. Go ahead and read.
And after these things, I heard a great voice of much people in heaven saying, Hallelujah, salvation and glory and honor and power to the Lord our God. For true and righteous are his judgments, for he hath judged the great whore, which did corrupt the earth with her fornication.
He hath judged the great whore which hath corrupted the world with her fornication. Fornication means religious worship, sisters and brothers. America is not corrupting anybody with religious worship. Matter of fact, there is a separation between church and state in America. Right now, there's a separation. They are not trying to force any religion on nobody. This is about a place that corrupted people with a form of religion. Rome did that. Rome had the whole world, and still got most of the world today believing in their religion. Even if you're not a Catholic, you're still holding on to her religious views. America does not control the world from a religious standpoint. Y'all know that. Whoever this is talking about is somebody who the world committed fornication with, and that means in a sense of worship. Y'all know that. Go ahead and read.
Have avenged the blood of his servants at her hand.
And have avenged the blood of the servants at her hand. Rome has already been physically destroyed, but spiritually Rome still exists. You follow what I'm saying? Through a religious establishment. So that's one loose end God got to tie up, and he's going to do it, right? But now, let's go to the last one. Let's go to 2 Corinthians. He's trying to tell you, you have been lied to. You have been deceived. These black Hebrews that teach you that America is Babylon are twisting scripture. They don't understand history. They don't know how to read. And they just plain don't know what they're talking about. They just don't. And I took you everywhere they go. And I showed you the proper historical context by just simply keep reading. I will stir up the Medes against them. Oh, that's talking about ancient Babylon. Nebuchadnezzar. Oh, that's talking about ancient Babylon. 2 Corinthians 6, and pick it up at verse 14. Go ahead and read.
Be ye not unequally yoked together with unbelievers. For what fellowship have righteousness with unrighteousness? And what communion have light with darkness?
Now notice he said, be not unequally yoked with unbelievers. Right? Unbelievers. Who are unbelievers? The world. That's unbelievers, right? That's who the unbelievers are. Now skip down to verse 17 and watch what Paul likens unbelievers to. Watch what he quotes. Go ahead and read.
Wherefore come out from among them, and be ye separate, saith the Lord, and touch not the unclean thing, and I will receive you.
Don't you know that Paul is quoting the Septuagint Old Testament version of Isaiah 52 and 11 when God was telling Israel, ancient Israel, to literally come out of ancient Babylon because it was about to be destroyed? So why in the world is Paul applying something that talked about ancient Babylon to something that was going on in his time? Well, he just told you, don't be unequally yoked with unbelievers. Then he turned around and said, come out from among her. He's using Babylon to represent the world. That's why it says in 1 John, be not of the world. He's using Babylon to symbolically represent unbelievers. And the world is unbelievers. They understood that. But where was Paul when he wrote this? Where was Paul residing at? Paul was traveling all over the place, but Paul was from Israel. He's from Jerusalem. Paul is telling you what? Come out from among her. Be ye separate. How? By not doing the things that the world does. If that meant leaving America, how could that be the case when America was not even established when Paul wrote this? See how stupid that is? So Paul is telling me right here to come out of America? America wasn't even here. And this ain't prophecy. This is a letter to the Corinthians. He was telling the Corinthian Christians back then, come out from among her. Who was the her? The world. Because he had just told them, don't deal with unbelievers. That's who the world is. Unbelievers. So who is Babylon, people? It's the Roman Catholicism. It's the Roman Catholicism, and it's the world. That's what it is. So as y'all can see, America is not Babylon. And the scriptures they take you to show you that are being twisted and ripped entirely out of context. The scriptures we went to in the Old Testament is talking about ancient Babylon. Nobody can argue that because it tells you how it was destroyed by the Medes. And we know historically the Medes destroyed Babylon. When we go to the New Testament, we read about the spiritual Babylon. It gives the geographic location of it. It says the 7 heads that the horse sitteth on is 7 hills. We looked it up in the Greek. It can also mean hills. And you got the 7 hills of Rome. You can even go on the internet and look up the names, the individual names of the 7 hills. Right? Then it called this whore a woman. She is the opposite of the woman, the Lamb's bride. The Lamb's bride represents true believers, the one who believes in him, the one who truly worships the right way. So this woman represents a assembly or church of false worship. That's the Roman Catholic Church. This is not America. This woman is called Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots, because all the kings have committed fornication with her, and it tells you how they committed fornication with her through her wrath. In other words, she angrily, and violently forced her religious views on people. America did not do this. Then finally we see that the similarities between Rome and Israel are staggering. Rome was Babylon all over again for the people of Israel. That's why they called it Babylon. I'm not calling it Babylon. They called it Babylon. But these folks claim to be ancient Israel's descendants today can't see that. They want to make it be somewhere where they are because they want to be the center of attention. It's not talking about you. You are an idiot if you're telling people that America is Babylon. But finally, the most important thing, we showed you what it means to really leave Babylon. It means to not deal with unbelievers or do stuff that unbelievers do, or the world. That's why John said, be ye in the world, but not of the world. So Babylon is the Roman Catholic belief system, and it is the world of unbelievers in general. And if anybody is telling you that it is America, they are a deceiver, a false prophet, and they're going to bear the judgment of this Babylonian system right with the other non-believers. See you next time.